Hey, this is Niels on Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy some silver, some platinum, some crystallized osmium, and be kind, helpful, and grateful because it's always better than being a jerk. Don't listen to me. This is all for entertainment and bullshit. Got all the disclaimers out of the way. Let's go ahead and go with Sabine Hossenfelder. This is from 5 days ago. Give her a thumbs up. This is Sabine Hoffenfelder. Let's put this in the chat here. So that way, in case I get someone coming in here saying I didn't give her full credit or whatever. That's her website right there for this show being shown right now. And let's get on with it.
Wrong with Europe. It's hard to ignore that we're dangerously and depressingly falling behind in technological developments. This is particularly obvious when it comes to artificial intelligence, on which the entire European Union missed the boat. And after we missed the boat, we formed a committee to study the pier. What is going on? Let me illustrate the problem. This is a bottle of melatonin I bought in a supermarket in the United States. 5 milligram a piece. It's almost empty. This is why I recently bought a new one. EU product, 0.5 milligram a piece. If you want 5 milligrams per pill over here, you need a prescription. So now I have to take 10 pills instead of one, because our government assumes that adults are too dumb to make their own decisions. If you're located in the United States, you should see the t-shirts that I'm selling with Einstein's field equations and so on. If you're located in Europe, you can't see them, because the feed doesn't fulfill some obscure regulation, and God knows it could be dangerous to buy a t-shirt on YouTube. Self-driving cabs? No, can't do this here. Too much could go wrong. Embryonic stem cell research? Heaven forbid. Drone deliveries? Wait, we first need a framework for a strategy for an initiative. It will stand on 6 pillars, and then we'll pass laws until anyone who remembers what they're about has died. Did you know that the largest tech company in Europe is American? It's because the American companies are registered some branch in Ireland for tax reasons. This is also why I recently got a letter from the Irish tax office, because I make income through Google's branch registered in Ireland. And speaking of taxes, yes, it's right what they say. I work for the government more than half of the year. I now have to pay a church tax, even though I haven't been a member of any church ever in my life, though I spent some time among string theorists. This is a bottle of Advil I bought in the United States. Contains 300 pills of ibuprofen. Can't buy this here. For one thing, you can't buy painkillers in bottles. Oh no, that's way too dangerous. And if you want more than 50 pills a pack, you need a prescription. You can buy 50 packs of 20, all right, but not one pack of 100. Way too dangerous. We can't allow this. It has to be regulated. And then there are the bottle caps that no longer detach. So if you want to drink out of the bottle, you now have the cap hanging in your face. The problem with this bottle cap disaster is not the caps. I can see that in some situations it's actually useful, and if you pull hard enough, it comes off anyway. No, the problem isn't the bottle caps. The problem is that the European Commission spent years on coming up with regulations and plans to solve a problem that didn't exist in the first place. I understand why the Brits left the European Union. Not that I think it was a good idea to leave a trade union with literally all of your neighbor countries. Not super smart, but I understand the sentiment. The European Union is not a country. All its members are unhappy in their own ways. So one can't reasonably make any general statements about what's going on. And that's just as well, because I'll unreasonably make general statements. I think Europeans have become too damn complacent and also totally ignorant of what's going on in the rest of the world. This graph shows how labor productivity in the EU stopped growing in pace with that of the US sometime in the 1980s. The major reason for this becomes clear if you look at labor productivity per working hour, which is
Hey, what's up,
basically the
Pete?
same both in the US US and the EU. This means the reason Europeans are less productive is simply that they work less, and our most productive hours are the ones we spend planning the summer vacation. For some while, this didn't matter all that much for tech developments, but it became really obvious with the dot-com boom that the Europeans basically entirely missed. Good thing, you might say, less money wasted. Okay, but this is the reason why today almost no big internet service is European, with the one exception of Spotify that no one seems to know is Swedish. And with AI, we're just making the same mistake again. Last year, Mario Draghi, who used to run the European Central Bank, wrote a long report for the European Commission about Europe's economy. If nothing changes, he said, Europe faces a slow agony of falling more and more behind. He laid out some steps for improvement, most importantly, make innovation easier, faster, and cut back on the paperwork. A year later,
What's up?
basically nothing has happened. In a recent speech, Draghi said, governments have not grasped the gravity of the moment. I think he's right. And it's not just governments. I notice this when I talk to people here. They don't understand just how much Europe has fallen behind. They're confident it's not possible and too proud to admit that their welfare state isn't working anymore. The major problem with the welfare state is that it has too much inertia. It's too slow. This is why we're seeing trends towards authoritarian governments all over the world, because any other political system is just too slow at this point to keep pace with technological progress. I'm not saying authoritarian governments are good. I'm saying they're an easy way to make fast decisions. And this is why authoritarianism is thriving. And if we don't find a way to dramatically speed up and simplify democratic decision-making soon, more countries will default on authoritarianism. The Chinese get it. The Americans get it. And if the Europeans don't get it very quickly, well, I'm seriously considering moving to the UK. But maybe we'll catch up eventually, once we've translated the innovation forms into all 24 official languages. Part of the problem, both in Europe and in the United States, is lack of information about what's going on elsewhere. And a great way to keep an overview on global news is today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a news platform for news from all over the world. They collect...
Anyhow, that's enough from her because she's now selling her product, and that's cool. She can sell it, but I'm not here to help her sell her product. Yeah, we all know Europe's screwed. The whole world's screwed. I'm just pointing out she lives in Europe, so I think Austria or Germany, something like that. So she's just, maybe even England, since she pays a church tax. She probably lives in England, actually, because they have TV taxes, roof taxes, all kinds of cool taxes because of the social system they have. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to you to show how Europe missed the .com because they didn't want to invest in it. And they are missing, well, they're missing a lot of stuff, actually. Anyhow, this is the future of shoes. You're like, what? The future of shoes? Yes, Sky News Australia. U.S. sneaker company unveils revolutionary AI shoe factory. Interesting. Let's give them a thumbs up, see what they got to say.
Store in the US has unveiled its new AI-generated factory. The job, which once took 60 workers, can now be done in minutes.
Take a look at this. This is the robot that's transforming shoe manufacturing. A job that once took 60 workers is now done in just minutes.
It's fast. It's efficient.
From the screen, you can see the shoes.
It's AI technology, and it's making your shoes.
This production line on one shift will do 150,000 pairs a year.
Summit's Footwear Inc. is the first AI-powered, semi-automated sneaker factory in the nation, and it's located right here in Henderson, Nevada.
Las Vegas has always been known as a, casino industry, service-oriented business.
But CEO Scott Miller and the company's president, Alan Lee, say in the next decade, they'd like to change that to include manufacturing.
I like that robotic arm they had.
By the next 3 to 5 years, we plan on 50 production lines with an output of 20 million pairs of shoes a year in Las Vegas.
So how does it work?
As you can see, there's no overspray of glue or anything of that nature.
Summit's production line relies on patented advanced automated technology and 3 robotic arms that ensures that the glue that secures the shoe sole is evenly dispersed, a task that was once done by hand, cutting a 60-person production line to just 10. Something Miller says allows the company to move workers into higher paying salaried positions much faster.
We can train a worker within 1 week's time to get them to understand how to do production on sneakers.
With the global sneaker market projected to surpass $120 billion by next year, shoe brands face mounting pressure to localize production and shorten lead times. Summit's footwear can do just that.
We would like to change it around and make it Shoe City. We'll make it shoe capital of the United States.
So the next time you put on your sneakers, just remember, you'll know the technology behind how they're made.
See, now the interesting thing about that is it's going to be a $1 trillion business in 10 years. What? It's growing. Man, I tell you what, if I was smart, I would say that would be a growing AI business. And hey, they employed 10 people. So apparently AI is not going to take everyone's jobs, just like the refrigerator didn't kill the world by getting rid of the Iceman and the Milkman. Things will evolve, we'll all live. And for those of us that are smart, we might want to get into AI shoe manufacturing, because it sounds like you can cut your cost on employees by, what was that, from 60 down to 10. So you can cut your employee cost by 80%, and you can increase your profit margin by that same 80%, plus the general increase in shoe sales over the next 10 years. It sounds like a great long-term successful wealth building company driven by AI and a little bit of robotics and a few employees. It's an interesting thing to look at. Quiet, Silver. And exactly, Pete, they're a necessity as well, which means people are always going to be buying them. What's up, Jeffro? It's been a while. But yeah, I mean, for limited, you could go to a bank if you have good credit right now and say, hey, I want to buy all this stuff and start a shoe company. This is how much other shoe companies cost to start. They have 60 employees, this, that, the other. I can get the same done with this equipment and 10 employees. And they're going to look at the numbers and say, that's a great business deal. We'll give you that loan. And then you just start making shoes and selling them. You could even go as far as possibly coming up with a program that people could download on their computers at the house and maybe print out some sort of a shoe sizing thing specific to their foot that they could re-upload. And then you could have a pair of shoes specifically designed to their foot and mailed to them without them even going to the store. So therefore you even save more money by not having any shelving space and doing direct orders. But that's just off the top of my head on a business that someone could get in and make real good money at. Matter of fact, I'm actually kind of thinking about it now. See if I can't squeeze that one in. It'd be nice to have your own shoes perfectly fit to your feet. And that's exactly it. You send them out to make your money for you. So that way you're not working. They are. They're making the money for you. And what do you have? Free time to spend that money and do good things in the world, or be a dick and screw the world up like that woman from Walmart. Personal choices and decisions. I would suggest doing the latter, be a good person. But, personal choices and decisions, everyone, oh, I got screwed over, so I'm going to screw people over. Yeah, okay, continue the bad. That's how you work. But anyhow, that's just one business that I found out there as I was scrolling through things that I might could throw out to show people how if you have good credit, wow, you can make some money. And now back to all these big YouTubers, man. I'm so sick of these guys lying to everyone just to get views. Okay, this is $120,000 a year jobs. No workers. Ford CEO sounds the alarm. Yeah, this is 3 days ago. It's a revision of the last one I did where they said they needed 400,000 workers. And if they're paying $10,000 a month, Holy shit. Sounds like a decent business to get into, but hey, I'm a dumbass. What do I know? Let's see what they have to say.
CEO Jim Farley is sounding the alarm over the lack of qualified job candidates with mechanic skills. Farley is saying he can't fill 5,000 current jobs that pay $120,000 per year, saying, quote, we're in trouble in our country. Comments highlighting the overall lack of skills.
So what we have is we have a bunch of kids pulling out $500,000 loans and getting DEI 4-year college graduates that have no way of earning money. And nobody decided to take these jobs and get the vocational skills of a mechanic and save $500,000 in college expense.
Skilled tradespeople within the U.S. workforce. Taking a look at the stock of Ford this morning in the pre-market, it is slightly higher. Then there is this. The FAA is ending its emergency order mandating flight reductions at 40 airports across the country. It is set to expire this morning. The cuts began earlier this month during the government shutdown due to safety concerns over staffing shortages. The initial reduction was 4%, but later it was increased to 6%. Well, I asked Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy how he plans to address this issue when I sat down with him last night at Newark International.
I don't care about that. I just wanted to bring you that little bit about $120,000 a year jobs, 5,000 jobs needed right now for qualified vocational mechanics at Ford. 5,000 human beings out there. If we had 5,000 Americans that were qualified, that's sad. We don't have 5,000 qualified mechanics out there that can take $120,000 a year job. That they're begging to give you. That's real sad. Well, you know, you could always hook up with Biden too. He found lots of good ways to kill people and make money and steal from us, but he made money, you know. So let's keep it a little off the dark end and more to the realistic. Yeah, robots are going to take over the world. AI is going to kill us. Arnold Schwarzenegger's real. These robots are going to come around, wipe out humanity, and we're all going to die. Okay, end of story. Let's talk about something else. That's where that one goes. So if we're not all going to die, let's go with something else. You know, okay, so we're not going to all die from AI and robots. You know, we can be horribly negative as possible and lose every opportunity that's coming, because to be horribly negative means it's going to fail. And that means the whole world's going to fail. And we're going to go back to having barbecues around a fire pit with sticks and rocks and talking caveman. Yay, that's our future because of AI. Man, that's such bullshit. The negativity of people is such bullshit. Those are all people that you don't need to be hanging around, because they're going to bring you down and take away opportunities to make money. Because, you know, hey, having money doesn't mean anything in life. Who needs a new car? Who needs a new house? Who needs to make the house payments? Who needs to pay insurance? Who needs food? Oh, you need money? Who cares about money? Let's all go do stupid stuff. The world's ending. AI is going to kill us all. Man, if people have that kind of thinking, what's up, Andrew? Y'all just need to go off and go to Iran and live the end of the world, because they actually are killing the people over there. Or better yet, go to Palestine. The peaceful Palestinians are actually pulling people out in the streets and blowing their heads off in the streets, proving how peaceful and loving they are. You know, the world's not going to end, people. You got to rethink things. If robots are going to take over 20% of the workforce, hey, check this out. If the robot only costs $20,000 and you're making $60,000 a year and a robot's going to take over your job, buy a $20,000 robot, start a company doing your job. So that way he's making $60,000 a year. The first year he pays for himself and you get $40,000 for doing nothing. And the next year you have one robot making your living for you as you do what you want. Hey, there's a positive reality for AI and robotics. Holy crap. Isn't that positive? Now you have all the free time you want to learn your 10,000 hours to become an expert at something, rather than just, you know, saying everyone's going to die. Positivity, people. Positivity will positively get you somewhere. Negatively will positively get you nowhere. If you want to succeed, you can't go forward with negativity, because you're looking at a forward that's negative, which means you don't want to take it, which means you're not going to do anything, which means you're not going to succeed. Wow. Sucks knowing you're not going to succeed because of your negativity. But a lot of people don't even realize that. They think their negativity is positivity because they're positive, their negativity is right. America is going to end this, the collapse of Rome. Rome took 2,000 years, but America, we fast-tracked it. We're going to do it in 250 years. China's going to take us over, rule the world. We're all going to be speaking Chinese. The only thing is, for America to fall apart, China has to already fall apart. So America falls apart. China already falls apart. All the world, I mean, let's be realistic. It's not going to fucking happen. Realistically, the world owes almost $10 trillion in USDA to America. Contractually have to pay back 1/3 of our national debt to us in American dollars. The American dollar is not going anywhere by contract. If you listen to Judy Shelton, she's a big time, wants to bring us back to a gold-backed reserve currency. She even knows the factual truth. It'll take 20 to 25 years to unwrap all the litigation and undo all the contracts that are tied to the fiat dollar system to be able to legally get back to a gold standard. But hey, you know, we can do it in 24 hours. Just sign the paperwork. Woo, it's done. Wow. You know, it's those kinds of thoughts that make people poor. What's up, Chad? Protons, neutrons, and morons. That's a good one, Pete. Yeah, I actually I have a lot of days off because we got a pretty good stream of rain coming here, and I didn't have a job before it started, so jobs don't start in the rain, so I don't have nothing to look forward to for a while. But I am going down to the hall today, and I'm going to use the torch, and I'm going to make my very first precious metals gem. It won't be finished. I'm just going to cast it, and I'll come back up here and start cleaning it up. I still have to get the polisher, but I might do a live stream later today and show off the finished product. Well, it won't be polished, and it won't have the crystallized osmium embedded in it, but the first phase of it will be done, mostly done. All I'll have to do is, make a little hole for a 2 millimeter square of osmium to go down about maybe 2 millimeters into the top of the precious metals gem, glue it in there, and then fold over some silver on top of it to help keep it in there, and then repolish the whole thing. Then I'll be done. Dude, yeah, that's actually not a positive thing. I got bud rot this year because we're on top of the hill, and my makeshift shelter for rain didn't accommodate for misty fog blowing uphill, meaning from the ground up as far as my backyard goes, and I lost about half of it to bud rot. What I did get from it, awesome shit, but as far as quantity, I got probably 3 pounds, and I should have had 6 or 7. But when I see bud rot, I cut like 2 inches down from it, and I threw the whole thing away. So I actually threw away probably more than I should, but I don't take chances on health. I would rather throw the shit away and be wrong than smoke it and be right, and not in knowing I shouldn't have smoked it. Because that leads to health problems big time. But I got more than enough for me for the year, and that's why I grow, so I don't have to spend $6,000 a year giving someone else money for a product that I can grow. Oh yeah, 3 pounds will last the whole year. I'll be like, I still have last year's shit I'm going to throw away because I need the bottles for the new stuff. So I'll throw it in the trash and reload it up with the new stuff. So, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of weed. So I've got a variety. It'll last easily a year. My own little personal weed shop. I could actually make hash with it, but I don't want to take time to do that. And I don't like getting high. I smoke this shit to slow my brain down and to help me with some issues I have, residual issues from 1991. I don't smoke it to get high. I smoke it so I can function. So I'm not concerned about making hash with it. It's never been a problem for me. Yeah, there you go, Deplorable. You know, that's if you're not spending money on stuff that you're using, that you used to spend money on, that's a 2-for-1 in my book. That means you're saving money and you're still getting the product that you used to spend the money on. It's like a beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, that sucks, Chad. What you need to do is you need to find someone with some land and get them into growing and have them grow and give you some for free for getting them into growing. Or once Trump legalizes it nationwide by dropping it down from a class 1 to a class 3 felony, maybe I can mail you some. Oh, and by the way, even though Congress passed that law banning hemp, it's a bunch of bullshit. They wasted our tax dollars because they went in, they did all this work and gave all these votes and got paid for doing it. And if weed gets reclassified from a class 1 to a class 3 drug, that law no longer applies. Yeah, that makes Neil right, even though everyone saw the Congress making hemp illegal and everyone's saying Neil's wrong, MJNA is not going to do anything. Well, I'm sorry to toot my own horn and prove you all wrong, but I am right. Weed is going to be rescheduled, and when it gets rescheduled from a class 1 to a class 3, the hemp laws no longer apply. Oh, that's man, if I could do that deplorable, I'd be saving a lot more money. Growing my own cigarettes, tobacco. Oh, hell yeah. But I think before I go through that problem, I'll quit smoking cigarettes anyhow. But that's also a good barter. You can send it through the USB if you're going from a legal state to a legal state. Indeed, Andrew. You can also do that to if the state, I don't know, because you're flying over the state and there's actually, I don't want to get into legal laws of that. I do know that I can fly into Nevada, and in Nevada, weed is 100% federally illegal. But I was able to take my weed with me on the plane, hop on the plane from San Francisco airport and got off at Las Vegas airport, and I took my weed with me, had no problem. Had I left the city limits of Las Vegas, it would have been a felony, but inside the city limits of Las Vegas, it's legal, medicinal. So inside that city in Nevada, marijuana is legal, but outside that city, it's not. So there's that to deal with. And then you got the federal laws of, well, did it fly over the property? Because when they do property laws, it goes up straight up in there. That way, I know you guys probably never heard of this, but you can buy air rights. You like get 100 or so acres and you don't want people flying drones or anything. You can purchase air rights. And what air rights are is from your property line going straight up into the air, like 300 foot. You'll own all signals and everything, which means no one can fly, no one can do anything, but it costs money. But you can buy the air rights. Oh yeah, because you're not getting, Chad, you're not getting any of the chemicals and pesticides that they put on it. That's why I smoke American Spirits, because they I call the company every couple of years and make sure that the brand of American Spirits that I'm buying has no pesticides or herbicides on it. And they keep assuring me that it doesn't. Are they lying? You know, they're human. And they do work for a company, so it's very possible. But they advertise that there's none in there. But anything else you guys want to talk about? I just wanted to show some that stuff. Show how bad Europe's actually doing because of rules and regulations, and how we will be succeeding. Because if you look at the first part of the video I showed where Sabine Hasseldorf was saying how bad Europe is, that she can't buy this, that, and the other that she can freely buy here, and how they missed the dot-com boom and they're not getting the money from that happened 25 years ago, and they're now missing the AI boom, and they're even going to go further behind. It's all because of regulations and taxes that those countries, and then on top of those independent countries, they have a European that tax that goes on top of all the independent countries' taxes and regulations. And all those taxes and regulations make it so hard to stay in business. And so when I heard Trump saying for every new regulation, we're going to cancel 10, that right there tells you on a global scale what countries will succeed and what countries will fail. The countries that are strangleholding their business are going to fail. The countries that are easing up regulations, allowing business to start and thrive, will succeed. America is transitioning into a thriving business society. It is the greatest wealth transfer in history. We're taking all these other countries' monies. That's why we're getting $22 trillion worth of investments thrown into America, because all the other countries in the world are too strangle-held by rules and regulations to where you can't legally make as much money as if you were to start a company here in America, because our rules and regulations are being slashed. They don't feel on our level. We won't feel the effects of it for a year or two because it takes a while for government to roll. It's called inertia, just like what Sabine Hasselhoff was saying at the beginning of the show I showed. She was talking about inertia, how things move slowly because they're big. It takes a while to turn them. It takes a while to stop. America's a pretty big nation. It takes a little while, 1 and 2 hours for them to pass a law and everyone know it's a law and to follow through with the regulations. Now, it takes about a year and a half. So, like I said, third quarter of 2025, I saw light at the end of the tunnel. I see light at the end of the tunnel right now. I see next year, quite possibly us having zero inflation, having a thriving economy, and wages going through the roof. But it won't last long because it'll stay up at that level, and it's going to be a repeat of the 40s and 50s after World War II. New growth, new industries. Everyone was working. Everyone was opening up companies. 20 years later, all those companies got bought up by big companies, and now we have what we have. Same thing will repeat, but for the next 20 some years, there's going to be good times. The great thing about that is we're all going to forget the bad times in 20 years, and we're all going to get caught in the loop again because we're stupid. Unless you start a business, and then you got to stay on top of it, and then you say, hey, check this out. I'm not going to allow my kids and my grandkids to fall in the same trap I fell in. So I'm going to let them know what's coming, even though times are good and they can buy all the candy bars they want because they got all the money in the world. It's not going to be like that for long. And they need to start preparing, and we can start teaching the next generation and maybe keep all of our next generation out of the same miserable hole that we fell into through complacency and lackadaisicalness. We must stay vigilant in this new era. We must gain as much asset wealth as possible, and more importantly than that, hold on to it. That's the most important thing, because it's going to be a repeat, just like after the World War II. There were so many trucking companies because the American government had so many deuce and a halves, and there's so many qualified drivers. Everyone opened up a trucking company. There was like 13,000 trucking companies in America, a single owner, finance owner, operated owner, this. And then they started consolidating. The smarter guys said, hey, if I start buying up these others, I'll be bigger. Now you got like 3 shipping companies, trucking companies. I know this for a fact because my great uncle, Uncle Han, Uncle Honey is what we called him, had he actually owned 8 semi trucks in a small local business in the Lancaster area of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. What's up, Mike? And he was successful until his death. And then, of course, the great white sharks came in. Everything got sold. The family took the money, partied on it, don't have anything left. One of my cousins, he also had like 8 Harleys. I got nothing. One of my cousins got 3 of his Harleys, already sold them all, got rid of all the money. I mean, has nothing to show for it because he's stupid. And they were real nice Harleys, like $30,000 Harleys at the time. And he got almost $100,000 in Harleys, and he has nothing to show from it because he wasn't taught, he wasn't raised properly. None of us were. And we need to remember all this. And when these good times come and we open these businesses for those of us that will, and they become successful, keep them successful and teach your kids and your grandkids. Money's not free. Societies change. Economies change. And if you don't stay on top of it, you're going to be poor. And trust me, you ain't going to like that. And as long as we teach the next generation those lessons, America's going to be great for generations. If we don't teach them those lessons, Another 50 years, we'll all probably be dead, but they'll be in the same spot we're in right now. So personal choices and responsibility. Take hold of your personal choices and responsibility for the next generation. Become wealthy in these times that are coming up by opening up all these businesses. That shoe business, man, that is very interesting. I'm actually going to start looking into seeing how much it would cost to get all that stuff. Because if you can, because what I didn't hear about that dude and his company starting in Las Vegas about wanting to put out millions of shoes is he wasn't going to give people the option of downloading shoe size stuff that you know how you go to shoe store and you fit yourself and then you get the right width and length and all this other stuff. I didn't hear him say he was going to custom fit. He was just going to randomly make shoes at different, size 9, 10, 11, male, female, whatever. But if you do a custom version of that same business, you won't have as much business as he does, but you'll have more than enough business to make a lot of money. You won't be number one in the business, but you'll be number one in the custom shoe business, or two. Either way, you'll make a lot of money. No, you're not, Chad. See, God's going to bless you because you think you're too old. He's going to bless you with another 20 years. And in 18 years, you're going to be like, fuck, dude, I should have done that shit, but I thought I was too old. Now I think I'm too old. Maybe I'll do it now because he's going to bless me again and make me stay here longer. Yeah. Don't think you're too old, man. You don't know when God's going to check you out. There's guys out there. I just saw a World War II vet's 110 years old. I'm sure he thought he was going to check out 80 years ago. But he didn't. Actually, he caused a great stir with a speech he gave in England about how he was so ashamed of his service because it did nothing for how England is now. They've already been overrun and consumed by their enemies that they fought against in World War II. And he's like, I'm ashamed of my service. We did nothing to keep England free. You guys sold yourselves out. Now there's lots of demonstrations because he woke up the English to how sold out they became. Oh, don't hope, have faith, Chad. Hope is like dope. Faith is where it's at, brother. Have faith. Do you believe you have completed the mission God put you down here for? Or have you just been stacking and not getting out there and fulfilling the mission he put you down here for? Or maybe he put you down here to stack so you'd have so much that after it's over with, that's when your mission starts. And then you got 20 years of mission fulfillment because you stacked like he wanted you to. Lots of options out there for how it could happen, Chad. I can tell you this. If you think you're going to die, you have a better chance of dying because subconsciously you're going to put yourself in positions to die. It's like saying, hey, man, I like 67 Mustangs. I haven't seen a 67 Mustang on the road in a while. Have you guys seen a 67 Mustang? Let's talk about 67 Mustangs we haven't seen on the road. Well, now I've just put in your brain, you're thinking about 67 Mustangs. And the next week, you'll probably start noticing 67 Mustangs on the road. Not that they're just now appearing. It's just that you didn't acknowledge their appearance because you didn't think about them when they happened, when you saw them. So you didn't recognize them. But now because I put in your brain the number of a 67 Mustang, every 67 Mustang in your area, you will now notice. It's a psychological thing. They do it for advertising all the time, and then the people buy right into it. So yeah, we basically create. When they say you create your own reality, it's kind of true because what you do is you're more recognizing those things around you that you want to see around you. And that creates a more positive state of being. It doesn't mean the negative's not there. It just means that you're not recognizing it. And that kind of pushes it more out from your personal perspective and your personal vision, which enlightens you, which is what positivity does. It doesn't change the world. It changes you. And you change the world because now other people see that positivity and not all that negativity. So in reality, you do create your world through your perspective. It's a little more difficult than that, but there you go. 69 Mustang. There you go. So you're still going to see the old 60s, that 4-year time period from 66 to 69, 70, when they had the badass Mustang designs, the fastbacks, the Shelbys, the coupes, all of them. But you're because we've been talking about it, now you'll start seeing them on the roads. Exactly, Mike. It's the same as when you buy a car. You're like, oh, not too many people have this car, and then you buy it, and you're like, fuck, everyone's got this car. It's a psychological self thing. It happens inside your own brain. If you can recognize, and quite frankly, it's because we're literally ignorant of how to live our lives, because we don't notice what we innately do ourselves psychologically to ourselves with the help of external inputs, being TV, radio, other communications. It all influences our perception. And then we start not seeing things, and that's how people get away with shit. What's up, Thuran? Well, I got 20 gremlins right now, so I need another 56. I'll have to wait till I get some more land before I get more gremlins. Deplorable. Look outside, bro. Do you not think there's enough drama out there for it to be a freaking soap opera? I could write a couple of scripts for a soap opera just by watching the news. But anyhow, yeah, I just wanted to bring you that story, that Sabine and those others, and bring you some enlightening news about how you can start your own shoe business with 10 employees instead of 60. Again, when you go to get a loan from the bank, they look at numbers. You go for a loan, $5 million for a small business, and yes, $5 million is a small business of 100 or less. You say you want to employ, when you go for a loan, you go for like 5 years total cost coverage of everything. So if you have 60 employees, it's probably more than $5 million, probably more like $15 million. You go for the loan to cover total expenses for 5 years, because it takes about 5 years to become somewhat successful and profitable in a business. So anytime you can cut 80% of the employees start off and increase production by 100% start off, what you do is you take those numbers that you were presenting to the bank to start that shoe company, where you needed 60 employees and this, that, and the other. When you just took that money that you needed for the 5 years to cover that business and all those 60 employees, and you cut it down by 80%, and you still have the same business format, just without the expenses, I can guarantee you, if you have an LLC or you want to start it yourself and you have personal good credit, you will be able to easily get a loan from a bank in these hard times for that business. And that's how people are going to make it rich in bad times, because everyone's thinking, oh, the bank's not going to give a loan to nobody to start a shoe company. It takes 60 employees. No, it used to take 60 employees. Because of robotics, now it takes 10, and your production increases 100%. So now when you go to get that loan to start that company, the numbers for the bank look all that much more profitable, all that much more faster. So therefore, it looks all that much better of an investment for them, even in a bad economy. Imagine that. That's one way, people, that 115 billionaires have been created in the last 5 years, because people see these opportunities and take them, and the banks recognize it. Because those people didn't just willy-nilly say, oh, I'm going to throw a couple of $100 million at this myself. No, they go to the banks, and the banks look at it, and they're like, well, let's look at the financial numbers and see if it's a feasible loan to give you on something that will be profitable if run properly. That's their basic sentiment for giving out loans. You have to be able to show that it was to be profitable. So if you can instantly say, like today, you go to the bank, hey, I want to start a shoe company. I need this, that, and I'm going to have 60 employees. And then tomorrow you go there and say, hey, I need to revise that. I'm only going to need 10 employees. Which one will get the loan the fastest? Because when you look at those numbers, the numbers for that company with 60 employees don't look as profitable as if you don't have to pay 50 of those employees because you don't need them. So on the other hand, if you use the robotic technology, get rid of 50 employees, only hire 10, and double the turnout rate of shoes, the profitability of that company increased exponentially, to where any bank that you put in a loan for that type of business, they will give you a loan. They will, because they're in business to loan money. When times get tight, They only give loans out to the people who can show them the numbers of a business that'll be successful when times are tight. That only happens with the invention of new technologies. Those new technologies are robotics. So if you employ new technology, i.e. robotics, in your new company, and you get rid of a lot of employees, the banks will still give you a loan, even in a depression. Trust me. And don't trust me. Do the research. Find out how many billionaires were made after the Great Depression. Again, 115 billionaires were just made in the past 5 years. You want to repeat? I'm giving you the history. I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving it all to you. It's happening all over again. You want to make money. You want to stay poor. It's a thought process. See, I bet you they're going to tell you the same thing I just said. Show me the numbers. When you go for house loans, the reason why you can get a house loan, especially if it's a second home, is if you can actually show that you can rent it out more than the mortgage. The bank will give you the loan because it's a good loan. That means that if they get the loan, if you foreclose on the loan, they can still keep the renter in there. Now they're getting the rent money and they can resell it. So it's like a win-win-win-win-win, a recycling door for banks. They love buying properties or having people buy rental properties that are filled, because they know if you foreclose, the renter's still in there. They're still going to get their money. It's just you're the one not going to pay. But yet they can go after your credit report and damn you financially for a long time while they're still making their money. That's a good business investment for them. We look at it from a perspective of the one getting screwed over. That's not how it works. You got to look at it from their perspective. You know, the best way to do it, and here's another good idea, and I'm going to try and capitalize on this. Economic Ninja, my friend Travis, talks about these tax liens, and that's cool. But they also have tax foreclosures. And I've seen, and there's not many, not in the area that I'm looking. Not now. Probably next year there'll be more. But there was like 3 or 4 in the area I was looking at. But when you do a tax foreclosure, you're purchasing for a different purpose. You're not purchasing for you to live in the house. You're purchasing it as a investment property, which means that it has to be in a condition where you can rent it out and get more than enough money out of it than what you put into it. So if the house is valued at $150,000, it goes on a tax auction, and say, you know, you bid it up to about $40,000 or $50,000, you get it for $50,000. Now you got a $150,000 house for $50,000. You have to throw $50,000 into it to fix it up like new. So now you got $100,000 in the house that was valued at $150,000 and rentable at $150,000. But now it's new. You can rent it out for full rent because it's new, and you got only $100,000 into it. You're renting it out for $1,000 a month. You're only paying $600 a month on your mortgage and the $50,000 remodel loan. You're still at a positive $400 a month on that property. So that means you can sit at your house, take out a loan, contract someone to fix the shit up, contract someone to rent it, and you're instantly making money. It's not that easy or simple, but that's basically the bricks and mortar of it. And that's what I was just talking about, flipping it the old-fashioned way, except for instead of buying it, from somebody, if you're going to do the flip deal, do the tax foreclosures, because you're guaranteed you're going to get them for pennies on the dollar. So that way you're going to have to throw money into them. But again, if you're looking at, I was looking at one house, it was like $150,000. They were bidding it. The bid was like $35,000. So I figured if you threw in a $50,000 bid, you get it. The house needed work. Probably not $50,000, but $50,000 would totally remodel it with new windows, doors, air conditioning unit, sheetrock, wiring, carpeting, tile, remodeled bathroom. $50,000 would cover all that. So now I got $100,000 into it. You're paying $600 a month for $100,000. You've written it for $1,000 plus. But that's a certain type of loan, and people need to get the differences between, oh, well, I want this house. Now you're trapped. You want that house, you got to pay for that house. If you're looking for a flip deal, do tax foreclosures. And I don't even flip them at that point in time. What you do is once you fix it up, rent it out, tell the person, hey, we'll do a rent to own deal. You stay in here for 2 years paying rent. We'll put $3,000, $5,000 down of your rent as a down payment, and we'll turn it into a mortgage, and we'll make it a 50-year mortgage. So that way, anytime in that 50 years they mess up, you get to take that house back and resell it because you're the bank. It's a BYOB, be your own bank. Start with the tax foreclosure, the way I just said it. Get into it, rent it out, talk to the, start telling, advertising it for owner finance for sale. Dude, you could be rich forever, just like the banks are. And you could even do it better than the banks because you wouldn't have to charge as much and still make a good amount. And if the people can't make payments and you're not screwing them like the banks do on 20 years of interest payments first and then the equity payments, which is what banks do when you see the loans that they set up. If you actually do a reasonable loan where you do principal payment plus interest monthly, the person ends up paying like fucking 70% less than what banks charge for home loans over 30 years. It's actually a better way to do it, but banks don't operate that way. But as an individual selling houses, you can. And you can pick up those houses cheap through tax auctions and throw money into the house. Now you're 100% owner, rent it out, start getting your money back, showing the positive cash flow, and then sell it. And you don't sell it and take full, oh, the bank's going to give me the full price and this guy's going to, no, because then what the bank's going to take your job. You sell it to the individual and you be the bank. So that way you get that mortgage payment. So it's just like rent, a little bit cheaper, guaranteed though, guaranteed. Unlike in the renter scenario's got no equity in it. You see the difference in how this can work? Now you've got a quote unquote buyer who's yes, and that's it, because 100% of Americans are pieces of shit. You're 100% correct. But, no, they're not. They only tell you about that. There's about 80% out there like myself. When I got evicted, I didn't leave the house in better shape or worse shape. I left it in as good, if not better shape, because I didn't want my fucking credit dinged. And I actually had the fucking intelligence to think about that. I wasn't stupid like apparently everyone that you're going to lease it out. No. That's only hateful. See, if you have that scenario, that's a you problem. You sold it to the wrong motherfucker. You was greedy. You just wanted to sell it. No, you find the right people. It takes a little while, but you find the right people. Make sure you don't screw yourself in the deal. Part of making a deal is making sure you don't screw yourself later. If you can't find someone who's not going to have an attitude of being an asshole, like that'll destroy a house when they know they fucked up and are going to lose it, then you screwed up by selling it to that person and owner financing it. There's responsibilities you got to take in life to make money. It just doesn't come freely and God sends you all the great people and, are we living there now? Seriously? Come on. You got to put some realization into it. It's not playing landlord, Andrew. It's not playing landlord at all. It's playing bank. I'm not talking about renting. I'm talking about buying a tax foreclosure for $30,000, throwing $50,000 into it, and then selling it, not to a bank. Owner finance selling it. Because if you owner finance it, that means the owner, you get the money every month and interest. You want interest on you want savings interest? You'll get better interest if you sell a house. You'll get better money. So it's not playing landlord because at that point in time, they are the owners trying to purchase the house. They're not renters. Renters give you a different type of headache over people buying a house. There's two different mentalities used. Renters are there for a short time. They don't care. And yes, they will fuck your house up. People who want to buy it, they actually have skin in the game. They're wanting to take over possession of that house, and you're the one carrying the mortgage. Yes, you carry the mortgage,
you are the bank. It gives you a permanent residual income. So now you got a $35,000 tax foreclosure. You throw $50,000 into it. It's a new house, $150,000 house. You sell it to someone as an owner finance. You're making bank every freaking month because you sold it for 150. You got 85 into it, and you're getting the sale monthly payment on 150,000. So you've already doubled your money every month over renting. Because when you rent, you got to deal with the jerk who's like, yeah, this job's only going to last me 6 months and I'm out of here. I don't care if I fucking screw up the plumbing. I ain't got to tell him about the crack in the window. My next job is going to take me out of state anyhow. Yeah, that's a renter. Yeah, they're going to fuck your place up. That's not the mentality of someone buying your house. There's a difference. Someone buying your house, they want to put down roots. They want to stick their money in something. They want asset increase. They want to purchase, not rent and fuck up. And if they in purchasing, just like now we hit economic hard times, you're the bank. You don't have to kick them out. You can be a good person and say, hey man, we'll delay 3 months of payments to get you on your feet and see if you can get you on your feet. But after that, we're gonna have to, evict you and take the house back. But you can give them even more leeway time. You can not ding their credit when it happens. There's lots of things you can do to help a person out that way and still get them out of the house and have them in a better way than if the bank owned the house. You see the principle that I'm going for here? That's the type of business change we need. And for that to happen, more people need to step up and do that type of business. Because right now, house flippers, they'll go in. I'm seeing one that half burnt down. They didn't replace half the 2x4s that were burnt. They didn't fucking smoke abate them. They just threw fresh sheetrock over it and are throwing up new wood and new on top of the burnt. So what the person who's going to buy that house, they're going to see it new and they're going to get fooled thinking it's all new. They're going to think underneath that sheetrock must be a new 2x4. But no, it's a smoke burnt 2x4. It was still stable enough to hold the weight, but it had that black charcoal on one side. You're going to smell that in a new house after a month or two. And you're going to be like, damn, why does my house smell like it's burnt? Because someone flipped it. That's why I don't like using the term flipping houses, because nowadays term of flipping houses means you're going to fuck the person you're selling it to for profit margin. That brings up a religious, spiritual problem for me in not doing good by your neighbor. You're actually being greedy, and greed is one of the 10 deadly sins. So you got to incorporate everything into your business in your life if you want to be successful. Most people won't do that. That's why most people aren't successful. Might be wealthy for a short period of time, but your kids will be poor. So if you consider that wealth, drive on with status quo. I'm looking to change things. I don't want things to be like that. I want to see people make money and do things the way I just explained how to do them, where you can still have good money every month coming in, doing the right thing, put in a little bit of work, make sure you get the right people in there. It don't take much. Background checks, a couple phone calls, things that we don't do now. Then we get the statistics that we're quoting. Oh, well, statistics. Yeah, that's because people don't do the right thing to get the right person in there. They just want money. They don't care where it comes from or what the person's going to do to the house. As long as you make that payment, they'll deal with it. See, it's the wrong mindset. People have the wrong mindset of business. That's my point. That is definitely not the norm. And that is why I say do a lease to own after you buy a tax foreclosure and fix it up, because you have more than enough instant equity in it. You probably got 50% equity in it once you finish remodeling it, because you got it for such a cheap price to where you could make being the carry the mortgage lender, homeowner lender of the house to the other person. And like you just said there, most people won't follow through, but you will. And like you said, that's not the norm, following through. And on a 50-year mortgage, if you're carrying the note, I can guarantee you, as Economic Ninja says, every 7 years we go through financial turmoil. That's the way the economy is set up. So in 50 years, you're going to have 7 financial turmoils. Most people won't be able to make it through all 7, and they'll lose their house. But bingo, now you can resell it. Well, it's the affordability of lifestyle. Everyone thinks they're, I hear it all the time. All the people who were brought over here as slaves, they were actually kings and queens, and we stole them from their empires. And my answer to them is, wow, if you were kings and queens, why did your people get rid of you? It's your perspective, bro. It's your perspective. Afford your lifestyle currently. Are you living beyond your means right now? Most people are. That's why most people are suffering. I'm talking about reevaluating living between your means. In other words, if you make $1 million a year, don't live in the damn mansion and show that you're making $1 million a year. $1 million a year ain't shit. Buy that cheap house, fix it up, and live like a pauper. So that way you can make it through those 7 bad times that are come in the 50-year mortgage. And you'll make it through, skate it through, no fucking problem. Your kids will be fine. No, they won't have the new Reeboks every other week. Your wife won't have the Ducati purse or whatever. But those are not wealth. Maybe people have the wrong meaning for the word wealth. What they want is they want greed. They want greed, not wealth. And there's a difference. Greed is I want it now. Wealth is I want to keep it. Oh, the numbers. It's irrelevant about ethics. As I stated earlier, it's all about numbers. When you go to a bank, they look at numbers. There's actually a mathematical formula. I'm not going to tell anyone. You guys got to research this one on your own. There's a mathematical formula to get a house loan. And if you get the numbers of that mathematical formula to the bank in a format of a loan application, I can guarantee you they'll give you a loan if you meet that mathematical number. I see it happen all the time. All the time. People don't know about it. But anyhow, yeah. So it's a lot easier to flip property, of course. And that's accentuating the problem that we're having in our society of the consumer nation. Because, if you like the houses, brand new houses they make, within 10 years, they are designed to have a major flaw where you'll need maintenance. Because if they design a new house to where you need maintenance in 10 years, they stimulated the economy. Because they used to build houses where you wouldn't need major maintenance for 40 years. So now in that old house where you didn't need maintenance for 40 years because it was built good, new houses need maintenance in 10 years. You just stimulated the economy 3 times faster by building that new house. So not only did you get the taxes off the new house, property tax, all these other taxes, you're also guaranteeing stimulation of the economy, a false economy, but an economy built off of stitches and Band-Aids, not real shit. And that's how I see flipping. It's a continuation of that. And that's the economy we're leaving, because once you start making things in America, yes, they will be expensive, but they're going to last. I remember my grandmother, my Nana, had a refrigerator from the 50s. I wasn't born until 68. And this in 71. So she had it for 21 years. Some of it still worked. I can't keep a refrigerator for more than 5 because they keep breaking. Shit quality. But hey, we imported them because of taxes and tariffs put on America that we paid. We lost our industry in making good shit that lasts. Now we got to buy a new one every 5 years. That's the statistic. You got to buy a new refrigerator in 5 years. Wow. Talk about a revolving economy. That's what we're getting out of. Anyhow, I'm going to end this stream. I hope you guys got something out of it, if nothing other than a laugh. And you guys have a great day and a great week ahead. 50-year mortgage is going to kill everyone who takes one. If you give them, you'll do fine. But yeah, it's the worst thing. Just like a 30-year was the worst thing. 30-year mortgage got us in the problem that we're facing now. 50-year, imagine what's going to happen. Anyhow, you guys have a great week.